Welcome in to the off-season of the Northeast States Only Challenge. I expected this series would go into multiple different seasons, possibly even go all the way through to a fifth. What I did not expect was for us to make it to the AFC Conference Championship Season 1. Unfortunately, if you were here last episode, you would have saw we lost late. With about 3 seconds left, the Steelers hit the field goal, sending them to the Super Bowl on a 20-17 defeat. They then went and lost in the Super Bowl 32-14 against the Tampa Bay Bucks. So, karma. Well, we are here, postseason time. And as a quick kind of recap of what this upcoming draft class looks like, it's not great. On our available board, just everyone we could possibly draft from any of the Northeast States colleges, we have 12 people. Of those 12, there are, I think, 3 or 4 actual draftable players. There is Stephon Collins, projected day 3. JJ McDougald, middle linebacker, projected day 3. And then James Snell, left guard, Anthony Oliver, left tackle, both projected day 3. Now, those two are completely 100% scouted. Oliver is actually a day 3 talent. Snell is a potential undrafted talent. So, not a whole lot in this upcoming draft class. We maybe have a decent linebacker here in JJ McDougald. He does have B, zone coverage, B, tackling, but he does have F, block shedding, so 100% pass cover through and through. Maybe could be depth, but he could possibly be our best available person to draft. Now, we have a lot of 6th-round picks, so we're not really having to do a whole lot. Honestly, we'll probably pick all of them up and some of the potential undrafted players even with our 6th-round picks and then go on from there. So most of the offseason, I feel, is going to be finding people maybe we could trade for, or just trading for future picks, and hopefully the next draft class would be a lot better. So, with all that said, let's move on to re-signing our players and trying to bring back as many as possible right away versus having to do it in open free agency. And actually, before we could even start re-signing players, we have to talk about retirees. Matt Ryan does not retire, but we do lose Justin Pugh, who I wasn't even expecting would retire, and Devin McCourty, who I did expect would retire. So we're already losing 2 starters, 1 to our offensive line and 1 to our DB group. But with us making it all the way to the AFC Conference Championship, some of these guys who may not have been interested beforehand might now be a little bit more interested. And honestly, it's probably better than what I've seen for most of these. So let's start with Matt Milano. He was really solid for us. I want to say was our leading tackler with like 139, although that might have been a Luacon. We had both of them up like 139 and 120. So I would love to keep them both around. We'll offer this deal here. It's a neutral. He's looking to make 17.4 a year, and that's exactly what this is. So we'll see if he takes it, and he will. So Milano is back. Zach Allen wants about 8.5 a season, which is what this is, but we bumped it up to 3 years rather than the 2 he was expected. See if that brings him back. Yes, it does. Great. Fantastic. Now, Austin doesn't necessarily want to come back, has next to no interest, so I'm not going to bother offering anyone with that little interest because it's just going to mean we have to offer too much money. We'll come back to guys like him in the open free agency. Yidam, we really didn't see him play at all, so I'm just going to offer just the base contract here, see if he wants to come back, and he will. So potentially Austin's spot is taken by Yidam. Now, I would like to bring back Riley Dixon, so let's try to bump this up because he doesn't have a lot of interest in actually coming back, but he was solid for us. A 1-year deal, but not interested in signing. Tajay Sharp was solid for us last year, but doesn't have any interest, so again, we'll just wait until we get to the open free agency. Lakem Williams is a backup, has a lot of interest, but is only 62 overall, so I just want to see what all is available before going and trying to sign some of these low overall guys to higher contracts. Hoffrichter, again, will probably have to go back to an open free agency as he doesn't have a whole lot of interest. Cam Lewis, we did lose one of our DBs and potentially one of our safeties will have to move to a corner spot. So I would like to bring him back as well. Just make this $1 million here for the bonus, just to try to help lock him in, and he's back. Now, Reed really didn't have much of any playtime at all last year. He's also 31 years old at a 64 overall, so we'll see if we bring him back, but for now, we're going to move on. Tristan Jackson really didn't have much of a opportunity last year either, but with Tajay Sharp possibly not coming back, he's at least on the younger side. We'll offer him 2 years, $1 million, and he'll come back. Didn't have any bonus, so if we end up cutting him later, no problem. Elijah Riley, another backup with no interest, so we'll just move on from him for now. Same for Radigan. Again, we'll try to bring him back, as he is only 24 years old. Alex Lindstrom, we did just lose one of our starting tackles, so he potentially could be a starter next year. So I do want to make sure we bring him back. I don't imagine he would have a lot of people coming after him, but no worries, we got him. Now, one of our other few backups we have on the offensive line doesn't have a lot of interest, but I would like to try to bring him back, but he wants to go to free agency. So we'll try to bring him back in open free agency. We need to find some good backup linemen. Chris Slayton doesn't have a lot of interest, so I would have to overpay. Wyatt Ray has some interest as a backup. I think he would be okay, so we'll make a 1-year offer, and he'll come back. Now, Tyree Jackson, we definitely need to keep him around. So we'll offer him a decent deal here because he's our only developmental quarterback currently. We have Dolgala, but he's a 53 overall. So we need Tyree Jackson. Also, you could see over on the right, a little bit of a spoiler. At 38 years old, Matt Ryan is down to a 66 overall. So Tyree Jackson might be our quarterback of the future, but he's not interested in signing. Dolgala, also not interested in signing. I don't imagine either of these two are going to have a lot of competition in open free agency, but we need to at least try to get them back. The franchise tag would be $20 million for Tyree Jackson, so that's definitely not happening. Now for our first bit of open free agency work, the only player we're offering who wasn't already on the team is Byron Jones, who would take over that McCourty role for us. He's 30 years old. We're having to pay him a lot of money just to get him interested in coming here, and we still may not get him. There are 12 teams who have put in offers. Trying to bring back Riley Dixon, trying to bring back Tajay Sharp, Hoff-Richter, as well as Tyree Jackson. So let's do our first round of evaluations. And okay, so all but the kickers have made their decision, and we get 2. Tajay Sharp joins us, Tyree Jackson joins us, or rejoins us, I guess I should say for them. But instead of coming to us, where did Byron Jones end up going? He chose to become a Raider rather than come to the Northeast Challenge. So we miss out on him for now. Potentially we could trade for him later. We'll see if we need to. But let's move on, try to find some more guys and help fill out this roster. And I did go ahead and add Austin back on this list. We'll try to bring him back, but honestly, there's not a lot of guys at this point that I'm finding that seem like people we really need to bring in right now. So we'll go ahead and evaluate, hopefully try to get these 3 in, and they'll probably be the last few people that we'll offer contracts to. We do perhaps get one of them. Yes, Hoff-Richter returns. Now, the other 2 still don't have any offers, so we will go ahead and evaluate one more time. One more person has joined, so we do get back our kickers. Tajay Sharp returns, as well as Tyree Jackson. Austin still holding out for a new contract somewhere else, but we'll go ahead and move on through till we get to the point where we can really just start the NFL draft. And just like that, the draft is already here. I imagine this is going to be a pretty quick off-season video. But before we start actually doing draft things, I do want to show you the board, because we did find out at least one good thing, and that is we have a talent that is higher than a day 3 in Stephon Collins, a cornerback, man-to-man out of Connecticut. Now, he's not a tall guy, 5'9", but solid weight, 204, 23 years old. However, he does struggle to find the ball in the air, but has a good motor, often looks to rip the ball out from runners, and shows good discipline. So there's a lot of mix of good and bad. He has, solid speed, pretty good acceleration, but change of direction is a bit slow. Injury and stamina, fantastic. He could stay on the field, and he can tackle, but he doesn't have much hit power. But he has some ability to catch the ball. He's a press man guy who's just not a high-end guy with D-zone coverage. So he's very interesting. I wouldn't say he's a favorite player I've ever seen, but potentially could be, solid. Now, we don't pick until the 4th round, so he very well could go before we have a chance to draft him. I'm not looking to trade up by any means. I don't think he would have the talent to be in the starting rotation. So, not looking to move up, but something to note that there is, some decency here in the class. The linebacker is a day 3 talent that we talked about earlier. There is one intriguing edge rusher here in Julius Pryor out of Maine, who does have B power moves. The finesse and block shitting are Fs, so not fantastic, but intriguing. And then, of course, like we mentioned, one of the offensive linemen is a potential undrafted while the other is a day 3. So there's some things here that maybe we could find some decent late talent to just be okay depth. Not necessarily looking at anyone here being in the starting rotation. But let's start with the draft, and the first thing we're going to do is sim all the way back to our 4th round pick. So as it sims through all of these, we're really just going to go with kind of best available. If there's no one we really want to pick up at that point, we could look to maybe make a player trade. Trade for a player, But we are up first. The best person on our board is the cornerback. Is he still available? And he is. All right, so we get a little lucky there. Might as well go ahead and pick him up. He is the best player. He's BPA of the board. So Stephon Collins is the first draft pick. He is a normal dev. I was hoping he would be at least the hidden dev, eventually be a star with just him being a day 3, actually around 2 to 3, but he comes in with 91 speed, 87 jumping, 89 change of direction, 88 agility, and 95 acceleration. So from an athletic standpoint, he's solid. With our 5th round pick, we still have Anthony Oliver, who is a day 3. Potentially we might go his way at a later point, or actually now. I was wanting to go with the linebacker, but he already went, so we missed out on an opportunity there. BPA Anthony Oliver here, left tackle. He's probably one of the best remaining, or possibly could be one of the best remaining if we take a look at the overall board. Pretty much. He's one of 2 draftable left tackles left. Might as well go ahead and pick him up here. And he also is a normal dev, but has solid strength at 89, 77 acceleration. Not very quick, nor fast, nor agile, but we'll see what he ends up becoming. He does have A lead block and impact block, with B pass block power and B run block. The rest of the ratings definitely need some help, but we need new depth, as some of our depth is now turning into starters. Now we have 5 6th round picks left. I'm thinking there's maybe 1 or 2 people that we could potentially draft. Britton Barnett out of Syracuse as a pass cover linebacker does seem intriguing with B to D block shed, A to C zone coverage. Tackling is an F, so that is a concern. There was also Julius Pryor, who we mentioned earlier, with the B power moves. And I think this is more possibly even our last draft pick that we might do. He has some intriguing player notes. You could pause and read them if you want. But he's 6'4", 279, 21 years old. He does have a little bit of some strength, not fantastic speed, decent agility though. So he's an interesting player type. And he has at least some power move ability and tackling. He's missing the rest, but we'll take a shot on Julius Pryor. And he is a hidden dev with 81 strength, 70 speed, 71 jumping, 71 agility, 74 acceleration, and 65 change of direction. Being 279, I don't feel like he's an edge rusher. Maybe he could play a hybrid, a little bit inside, a little bit outside. He's at least depth. Now from here, we still have 4 more 6th round picks. And there are definitely some guys we could trade for, but I just don't feel like they're at any position that we don't already have the answer for currently. So instead, what I think we're going to do is we will make our draft picks. And essentially, we're just going to use them as locking down some players that we would have signed as undrafted talent to a longer contract. So that's the new plan moving forward. We have, what did I say, 4 more 6th-round picks left. Hopefully we can find 6 guys that we actually want on the team. We do have back-to-back, and then the 30th and then 32nd. So first up, who do we go after? I'm thinking the potential decent guy at linebacker in terms of cover ability. Tackling is not great, but I think we're going to go with Brenton Barnett. He does have a pretty good athletic standpoint with, fairly decent speed. It says 13th and 12th, but running about a 4.7 isn't too bad at linebacker. The skills, they're not all there. We don't have all the information, but it's someone we would sign as a potential undrafted guy anyway. So Barnett is in normal dev with 82 speed, 91 acceleration though. Solid. We'll see actually how good any of these guys end up being after we finish the draft. There is Sal Lindsley, listed at right outside linebacker, would be an edge rusher. C finesse moves, C to F power moves, block shedding B to a D with C tackle, B to D awareness. Has some potential, maybe could end up being something, so sure, why not? Sal Lindsley will bring in you next. Doesn't have a lot of strength or any strength really, a 66, but he has some speed, good acceleration. We'll see if he can get around an edge. And with 2 picks left, we have 5 people on our board, and only 2 people who moved up in spots throughout the season. There is another linebacker, Courtney Riddick, listed as a run stopper with C zone coverage, so that seems intriguing. The other is an offensive lineman with F run block, so I think we're going to go Courtney Riddick just because he has at least some interesting rates. He's also 21 out of Buffalo, so we'll pick him up. Another normal dev with some solid speed and acceleration. Strength isn't too bad either. Now, instead of going with the offensive lineman with the F run block, I'm thinking Don Westerman, listed at left outside linebacker with some strength and speed as well. He does have B power moves. Block shedding is B to a D with C to F finesse, C awareness. I think it could be intriguing. Not necessarily going to be amazing, but the best of the bunch. Normal dev with 80 speed, 88 acceleration, 77 strength could be solid around the outside. But now it's time to see if any of these guys are actually any good. And did we find any at least 70 overalls? Yes, 1. Exactly 70 overall. Potentially, Riddick, when moved to an edge rusher, would end up being... Or no, he was an actual linebacker, I think. We'll go through all of them and we'll find out. Overall, though, not awful. 3 here in the middle could be better. But let's go through each. Starting with Collins, our first pick. Normal dev, but is a 70 with a +1 right now, 71. And, honestly, those ratings aren't bad. I was expecting the zone coverage to be a lot worse in comparison, like a 61, maybe even in the 50s. But that is not bad. That is something we could definitely work on. And potentially, we do give him a starting spot with a decent press, tackle at a 63. I mean, there's a chance he might play in the slot this year instead of moving a safety down there. Awareness isn't great, that's for sure, at a 61. What is his play rec? A 69 with the +2 there. He might find his way out on the field. Next up, we went with the offensive lineman, Anthony Oliver, 22 years old, normal dev, with the +2 goes up to a 68, actually a 66. And he has a very interesting skill set, very much power focused. Finesse is not his skill set at all, but could be pretty solid depth for us with the 93 strength. And awareness at a 70, also not too bad. I think he replaces Alec Lindstrom as our main backup, as Alec Lindstrom now becomes one of our starting tackles. Now, Julius Pryor starts our run of our lowest 3 overall players. He does at least have the +1 to 61 overall, but he was also our only hidden dev guy. Now, how do the ratings look? 70 power moves, and that is about it with 70 speed. I feel like we need to have him add some pounds and he plays as an interior pass rush for us. We have, I think, only 3 DTs, so he would at least maybe go up there. what happens if we do move him to DT and also change his number? I don't like defensive players with, or defensive linemen with numbers in the 70s. Definitely hate it when they're in the 80s. What number can we give him? How about let's give him 96 and move him over to DT. He was a 61 overall. Does that go up? No, it does the opposite. He actually goes down to a 57 with a plus 158. But I think that's where he's going to fit best as an interior pass rusher with having the 70 speed. We have a lot of other guys who are on the edge who are far better than him, so if he's going to get any shot of being out there, it's going to be as a backup DT. Next up was Brenton Barnett, someone we took a shot on, ends up being a 59 with a plus 1, a 60 overall, and he has really good acceleration, the speed not too bad. All the other ratings are going to have to work on. He's at least balanced in the run game versus the pass game with both 61 zone coverage and block shedding. So he's developmental, for sure. Now Sal Lindsley is a speed rusher, so we're going to have to move him over to an edge spot, which might help him out some. Block shedding is a 66, with finesse moves being a 64. So balanced, at least. Strength-wise, 66, not great. He's meant to be more of a 3-4 edge, but we run more of a 3-3-5, so we'll stick him at end. We'll see if he improves at all there. And we'll put him at left end with a 3-3-5. That's where I like my speed guys. We're going to change his number as well. And let's go, I think we had 91. Sure, he'll be number 91. And with that change, he does actually go up a little bit. He has -2 right now for morale, then the +1, so it's really a -1. He's a 58 now, switching to left end. He'll be able to work on his finesse moves, block shedding, at least solid. Some of the ratings are better fit for an edge guy. And then we went and picked up Courtney Riddick, and he actually is almost a 70. A 69 isn't receiving any boosts or anything. And he has 70 block shedding, 55 zone. So he's definitely more of a run stopper. If he is going to do anything else, it might actually be a blitzer with 63 power moves. He's not going to help in coverage whatsoever, but has decent play rec at 70. So he has some interesting ratings. He's definitely going to be a backup developmental run stopper for us. And with our last pick out of Army, Don Westerman. 23 years old, is 270, so not going to be an actual outside linebacker. Will go to edge rush with 76 power moves. That's actually really solid with 77 strength. Block shedding's not great, so we'll stick him at right end. He's currently a 64, a true 64. And like I said, we'll move him over to right end and we'll give him 97. Now he was, what did I say? A 60 something? 68, I think? Maybe? Either way, he's a 66. I can't remember if that is going up or down. Was he 60? I think it was a 64, actually. So, actually, I don't know. But either way, he is a true 66 now, and I think he will fit much better there. Now, we'll go through all the remaining undrafted players, all remaining free agents, see if there's anyone we want to add to the team, and then we'll take a final look at the roster, take a look at the next draft class, and wrap up the offseason. And here is the final roster as we move into the start of Season 2. Still have 2 guys in the 90s, then, a handful of guys in the upper mid-90s, or 80s, I should say. It would be nice to have a handful of guys in the mid-90s. But, solid. Nothing fantastic besides a couple different positions. Now, I do have a question for you. Do you want to see Matt Ryan start next season at a 67 or give the ball to Tyree Jackson? If we do give the ball to Tyree Jackson, we would need to change the offensive scheme. I'm thinking similarly to the Commanders replacement squad, where we do a lot of college style screens, short passes, RPOs, just to get the ball out of his hands quickly, where, he has his best accuracy with the short being a 74. Matt Ryan does still have the best accuracies by a good bit. Plus 12 for short, plus 10 for medium, and plus 8 for deep. However, the throw power is vastly different. Matt Ryan now only has 81, with Tyree Jackson having 95. So either way, I think we're going to be having a lot of short passes next season. Running backs will continue the dual-headed threat of A.J. Dillon and Pacheco. We still have Jarrett Patterson, but he hasn't seen the field really at all. And Kyle Juszczyk, we might need to find a way to get him more involved. Khalif Raymond is still going to be a starter, as well as Jeff Smith. Now, where we start to have a close battle is for that third receiver spot. Now, Tajay Sharp was I want to say 1,200-yard receiver for us last year, but he's also 28 years old. There is Bo Melton, who has 94 speed, 93 acceleration, would be one of our best combinations for speed as well as acceleration. There is Andy Isabella as well, who's 26. And when you start to try to separate them, Sharp definitely has the best hands of the group. Short route running, pretty similar, but Sharp does have the edge there, 72 compared to 70. Andy Isabella has the best medium, 72, then 71 with Sharp, and then 68 with Bo Melton. And then deep route running, again, all about the same. But as for release, Sharp has the best, 75, then Bo Melton, 71, and then 66 for Andy Isabella. So, not sure again who we're going to have as at number 3. I think I do want to see a bit more of Bo Melton. If you guys again watch the Commanders Replacement Squad series, he had a really great game when we first brought out the new playbook. So if we do switch to that, potentially he'd be a great guy to play in the slot. At tight end, Hunter Long will continue to be our starter. This position did not change at all. As for the offensive line, the tackles particularly, it will be the brothers Lindstrom starting. At left tackle, we currently have Alex Lindstrom. We might switch those. We'll see how Alec does. Chris is at right. He's our highest rated player, or second highest rated player. On the offense, he's at least the first. So those two might switch. We'll see how that goes. Elijah Wilkinson was solid for us last year. I expect he would also be this year. Same goes for Matt Pert. And then Zion Johnson as a rookie was really good. I expect him to grow well in this series. Alton Robinson also grew pretty well last year. He will continue to get this start. Nothing changed with the backup group at left end. At right end, Khalil Mack obviously will get the start, but Don Westerman is our number 2 there. So actually, we might see a little bit of some of these draftees. Wyatt Ray will be our 3rd. Now at DT, in the preseason, Zach Allen once again got hurt. It was a 7-week injury. He will miss probably at least a majority of the first episode of season 2, which is a good thing that we traded for Fatou Kassi last year, as well as drafting Julius Pryor. He now will be the number 2 essentially. So hopefully we could see him do well when he gets out there in the nickel situations. At left outside linebacker, actually our highest rated linebacker there is the draftee in Courtney Riddick. So we might just go ahead and give it to the young guy. When we compare him to McDuffie, honestly all 3 of them are fairly close, but comparing him to the 2 younger guys, we're going to take a step down in speed and acceleration, as well as agility, but better change of direction, better strength, the same awareness with much better play rec, tackling about the same with a lot better hit power, better block shedding, power moves are also better, finesse moves are also better, pursuit a little bit better, but the coverage, they're going to be worse. However, we're really not in a 3 linebacker set all too often, so with the little amount of snaps that we will see with 3, I think we're going to give it to Courtney Riddick. Middle linebacker, Oluwakan, still doing solid there. We did end up bringing back Radigan, who will be our number 2, and then Britton Barnett will be our 3. At right outside linebacker, Matt Milano, as well as Zaire Franklin. Now, Franklin as well as the rookie and Riddick are very similarly built, so we'll see who ends up getting majority of those third linebacker snaps. At corner, we have kind of a jam-packed group here with some of these guys. You know, had Yidam, who didn't see a lot of playtime last year, as well as Austin. We drafted Stephon Collins. Now, I don't think he's going to get the start because he does have the worst zone coverage on the team. But he could definitely develop and potentially grow into a starting spot. He's already better than Tro Williams. But as for who starts where for the line or for the like the nickel situation, Will Harris will still be in the slot, so it kind of comes down to press. And I think Yidam has worked his way into the starting spot there, but Austin right on his heels. So if we aren't seeing great play, we can make that switch. They're about the same from the athletic standpoint as well. Now, the safeties will stay the same. Justin Simmons is the highest rated player on the team. He will continue to be our free safety, with Cam Lewis backing him up. At strong safety, we still have Logan Ryan as well as Duron Harmon. And also, we kept Lucas Dennis on the team despite only being a 61 overall, so he can maybe see a little bit more development. And then kicker Riley Dixon and Sterling Hoffrichter return as our kickers. We had to move some people to the practice squad, so we're going to see Daniel Kemp, who was one of the rookies that we could have drafted, but we saved it, waited until he was undrafted, brought him in. Kingsley Jonathan will be a edge rusher, also sitting here. Trey Avery back to the practice squad this year. Fedarian Rossum, I don't remember if he was a draftee or if I picked him up post, but he's going to be on the practice squad, as well as Dieter Iselin, maybe? And Sal Lindsley also going to be on the practice squad. Pretty much anyone who was like a 60 or below was here, or if we had too many guys on the roster for one position, like Daniel Kemp. We already, I think, have 7 receivers, so we did not need the 8th. He moves to the practice squad. And as for the next draft class, already looks a lot better, at least with just total number of available players, 32. We'll go through each position individually, with David Wells as a potential quarterback for us. 6'3", 215 out of Connecticut. He's a day 3 projection, but the highest rated quarterback we've seen so far. And I definitely expect Matt Ryan to retire after this next season, leaving us with Dolgala, who was an option, as well as Tyree Jackson. Potentially David Wells could come in higher rated than both of them, so maybe? Who knows? At running back, there is Trayvon Morton, who is out of New Hampshire. We don't think we had any New Hampshire players prior to, but he has some solid size, another day 3 projection. There is a fullback out of Harvard, Tony Parker, potential undrafted, and a lot of potential undrafted receivers, but there is a round 1 projection. A receiver, Kyrie Gatewood, out of Boston College, 6'3", 226. I'll be excited to see what he looks like as we move forward. At tight end, 2 potential undrafteds with a day 3 projection in Elliott Pittman out of Princeton. A lot of Princeton players popped up in this draft class. He is 6'5", 245. As for the offensive line, a day 3 projection at left tackle in Luke Gabriel. The rest are all going to be potential undrafteds. We had a left tackle, we have a left guard, a center, and a right guard. At left end, a potential undrafted. Right end, 2 more potential undrafteds. And DT, 1 potential undrafted with a day 3 projection in Kashawn Dorsett out of Boston College, 6'3", 294. Left outside linebacker, a potential undrafted, with middle linebacker having 2 potential undrafteds and 2 day 3 projects in Mitch Dent out of Princeton, 6'2", 242. I would imagine a run stopper with that build. And then Dwayne McGill out of Harvard, 6', 228. I would imagine a cover guy. At right outside linebacker, potential undrafted. Corner, another potential undrafted. Free safety, 2 potential undrafteds. Strong safety, another potential undrafted, and a kicker in Troy Wyndham, I think is maybe how you pronounce it, out of Connecticut, 6'3", 210. And that leaves us with 8 actual projectable draftable players. And we should have 7 draft picks, if I remember correctly. So we'll have to do our work on them, and hopefully we can actually find some guys with immediate impact in this next draft class if we don't win the Super Bowl, which, if I'm being honest, not sure how well that will go for us. Matt Ryan was essentially 1 for 1 on turnovers to touchdowns last season, and he regressed a lot. So we'll see if maybe we focus more on the rushing game this next year, have some short passes. Who starts at quarterback? You let me know. But until next time, make sure you guys either scroll down and subscribe down below, or you can hit my bear icon on the bottom right, but tick the bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series is posted every Wednesday and Saturday until we make it to a postseason. Then a win and a 50 like goal means it's just back to back until we finish. Other than that, Wednesday and Saturday. The Commander's Replacement Squad series posted every Monday and Thursday, and then the FIFA My Player career every Tuesday and Friday. So 6 videos a week, a lot coming. Stick around, stay tuned, leave some love, and until next time, where we find out how this team will do Season 2. We'll see you then. Bye.
How it's supposed to feel.